Well, I have to ask a question before you. Did you start already Torah on the Gimel?
Yeah, the Keli and Galite, they all started, they're deep in it.
Yeah.
And we helping everyone's up to first time, second time, third time. We're getting to know the Torah a little bit.
How long have you been studying?
Since when did it start? Chaydesh Chesed? Kislev, I forgot it. Chesed? Chaydesh Chesed.
2 months. Where are you holding?
Kislev, I think no, they extended it Chesed. Right. Chesed hat man noch gelernt, Samach Chaim, right? Chaydesh Kislev, they started this time.
It's a month.
Yeah.
It will take.
We're up there, I don't know, it's Gimel, Daled, getting stuck over there a little bit with difficult topics, but...
Where'd you get stuck?
Stuck?
Whatever you want. I don't know the answers. Having said that, whatever you want.
Clarifying this whole inyan of the Yumim and the Midas and Chesed going into all the other Sfiros, that's his Dalit. It's a little complicated concepts. Everyone is up to somewhere else, but everyone is reviewing it a couple times.
Everything in the Likutey is complicated subjects. Right? Not just this. So that. Okay, so we'll start Siv Daled. Yeah?
Yeah.
Kugel. Right?
Yeah.
זה ידוע. שהתורה, הנה המידוס, הנה היומים, שויר בהם אבוסו יזברך שמוי, כמו שכוס בזוהיר הקודש, יומם יצב השם חסדוי, שהחסד הנה אבו, ושכוסף אבס אוילם אהבתיך, אוקיי, משכתי חוסד, ויום דעוזר עם כל יומים היינו המידוס. Okay. The Torah, the Rebbe brings it also in Torah Nunvov. Kasher. The Rebbe says that in English, yeah? So, the Rebbe says over there, for example, he explains what it means the Torah is midos. The Torah has parshias, and it has chalokim from the parshias. It has psukim. It has words. It has oisius. Each part, each letter, each musik of Torah is a different midah. Even you should know that the Moshel, the Rosh brings in the Durham. I think it's Perek Gimel. He says a person makes a neder, a shvua, a neder on the Torah. It has to be Mekayim because the Torah is all Shemus of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Every combination of letters, every combination is a chelik of the name of Hashem Yisborach. The Torah is the Eskalis. The Rebbe said in the earlier Torahs, Torah Siv Beis, Sorech L'dash Maloi Chol Ha'oretz Kvoidoi. The Eibishter is there in every kind of tziruf. It doesn't matter which kind of tziruf, but any kind of tziruf that exists, it's the Eibishter. Right? It's something that's what the Torah, which is the Midos. Midos means it's gestelt. This letter, this word, that word, whatever. They're all different ha'oros of Hashem Yisborach. So that when the person learns Torah, he's zoichet. The Rebbe said you have to hamshich shalom. Shalom, everything is complete. It's perfected. When is that? When you have the Eibishter there, in it. And you have the Eibishter there, if you believe it, so So the Torah is the midos, and those are the yomim. The Rebbe said in Siv Gimel, there's Yemei Tov, Yemei Ra, right? There are different days. Reb Nosson has in a piece in Likutey Alochos, he says, V'yom Tova Heyeh B'Tov, V'yom Ro'a Re'eh. V'yom Tova Heyeh B'Tov. Okay, that's good. But what do you mean, V'yom Ro'a Re'eh? Look. What are you looking for? I mean, it's Yom Ra, right? Nosson says that this has to be an inyan of the taking the Yemei Ra and looking at them and trying to find the Toiv that's in the Yemei Ra. It's there, right? The Rebbe says Yemei Toiv and Yemei Ra, you have to do it that way. Okay? So then Shora Behem, the Torah, right? The Torah is the Midos, is the Yomim. In other words, if it's Yemei Toiv, it's Yemei Ra. If it's the Midos, whatever is happening around us, whatever the case is, it's all Ahavoso Yizborach Shmoy. All of it comes from the Chesed of Hashem, as the Pasuk brings Avos Olam Avtich, right? That's Ahava, right? That's the Ava of Hashem. Why? Because of the Chesed Olam Yichamtich. Right? So the Chesed is the Ava, and that's the way it is in the Midos, in the Zohar, Kisfiari. It's all written down simply that way, that the Chesed is Ava, Yira is Gevura, is Din. The Chesed, the Ava, is in Chesed, okay? Al Kemeshechtiu, Yoima, the Ozol and Kula Yoimin, Hanu Amidos, right? What is that? Right? Zer Anpin, anyone here is Zer Anpin? Right? Heard of it? Right? Zer Anpin has 6 spheres: Chesed, Gevura, Tiferes, Netzach, Hoid, and Yesoid. Right? Zer Anpin is considered one partzuf, and therefore all of the 6 partzufim are included in Zer Anpin. Chesed is the first of the spheres of Zer Anpin, right? But you cannot see that Chesed until it's mishtalshel through Gevura, Tiferes, Netzach, Hoid, and Yesoid. And that's what it means, Chesed, the Ozol, and Kula Yoimim. The Yomim are the Midos. The Chesed cannot be Nizgala until it comes to Yesoid. That's clear? Versteht's? Right? The Rebbe brings that in Torah Lamed Aleph also, where he talks about the Chesed Miskala B'Puma da Amma. Right? Amma is Yesoid. Right? Chesed is Nizgala only when it comes to Yesoid. So the way you deal with your Midos, right? If it's your Chesed, if it's a Gevura, if it's a Netzach, whatever it may be, the way you deal with it, there's Chesed in there. Avos Olam Avtich. Olam, by the way, is also, every Midah is a separate Olam unto itself. But Avos Olam, the Chesed is Olam, it's all there. And, right, you cannot see it, you cannot feel it, you cannot really experience until it goes through all the other Sephiros. Okay? Any questions on that?
That's what we do by Sfiras Omer, Chesed, Gevura. Is that what we do by Sfiras Omer?
No, that's already, that's a whole different. If you want to know about that, learn Hilchos. Where is it? It's in Choshen Mishpat base, right? Which one is it? On Torah Aleph. It's on Torah Aleph. It's not Matana. Huh? Codem, right, Shkoyach. Thank you. Thank you. What can I do? I'm getting older. There was a time I knew that right away. Okay. Anyway, so in Pikodo in Halacha Aleph, Nosson there explains parts from the Ari. The Ari has many pages on the difference of the way the Chasodim and the Gvuros and the Tefera, everything works out. Nosson says over there, by the way, and this is Shaykh to this Torah, He says there that from the Ari, it comes out that the Iker Tikkun of every night, Chesed Shebegvura, Teferet Shebenetzach, whatever it is, the Iker Tikkun is in Malchus. That's where the Iker Tikkun is, right? Because it all has to go down, right? The Spheres by himself, up to your side, right, will not do anything for you until you get to Malchus. It has to get to Malchus in order for it to go over to you. That's what the Rebbe is saying over here in the Torah about the Torah. You may Ra, you may Toiv, it all has to come out, right? It has to come out through Malchus. It cannot come out any other way, right? The Rebbe says at the end of the Torah, he has the kavonos of Lulav, right? And he says, why do you do the Malchus, the Nanuim, right? All the Chasodim. The idea is the Yomer, the Kula Ozol and Kula Yomer, you take the Chesed from whatever side. The 6 Ktsavos, right? They represent the 6 spheres. The Gesed, Bur, the Fer, the Netzachod, Yisoid, right? But you're always bringing the Nanuim back to the heart. The heart is the Esrig, right? The Lulav goes all over. The heart is the Esrig, and the Esrig is Malchus. Right? The Esrig, so everything has to come into there. Here, the Rebbe didn't get to it yet. Right? He's talking here about the Midos, about Zer Ampin, right? And he's talking here, Yom B'Dekulia, so the Union, the Chasodim, the Avas Hashem, right, is all there to bring us down to be able to get to Yom the Ozl and Kul Yom. Now the Rebbe goes weiter and explains what he's saying. Ki amidois hem tzimtzumim le'alkusoi kedei shenucho lahasag oisoi ayidei midoisov. Kmo shekosov b'zoyra kodesh begin di yishtemoidin. Right? Ki b'loi midoisov efshar lahasag oisoi. Okay. So now, the Rebbe says it here, he says it in Torah Lamed Zayin, he says it in Torah Mem Tes, in a lot of different places. The whole inyan of the spheres, the way the Zohar Kodesh and the Ari explain it, that the whole ishtalshalus, that you should be able to be mekabel the Eibishter, is through the spheres. You had to make, they're all called oilamos. Oilam, by the way, is from the Lashon ne'elam, hidden, right? The Eibishter is Ein Sof. He's hidden completely from everything, from everybody, from every part. Doesn't matter. The Eibishter is hidden, right? But he has to make an oilam. He creates an oilam, which is megala the elkuso yizborach, right? But if the Eibishter created only keser, you'd never be able to accept the Orein Sof. It will be impossible for a human being to mekabel Orein Sof. So he created Keser. From Keser, we created Chochmah. From Chochmah, we created Bina. And down the line, Chesed, all the way down through Malchus. Through Malchus, we're able to be mekabel Oil Malchus Shemayim. If we didn't have Malchus, we wouldn't have Oil Malchus Shemayim. We'd never get to it. So the Rebbe says all the midos are the tzimtzumim. In other words, it's a filter. It's from a very intense light to a lesser light to a lesser light until it comes down to the koyach of where we can be able to be mekabel it. Umachmas o ahava she'ohav es Yisrael v'rotzo she'hid b'kaboi v'yav v'oiso imoy mizeh hoyda magashmi hilbush es el kusoi v'midois ha'toyda. V'zeh b'chinel sh'otayig mitzvahs. Ki Hashem yizborach she'yeh b'daitu she'aydei ha'mitzvah hazois nucho l'haseg oisoi. V'aydei zeh tzimtzem es el kusoi davke v'edo ha'tayig mitzvahs. The Rebbe soon brings the moshel of tefillin. The idea is the Rebbe brings it also in Torah Lamed, Hasogas Likutey, Efshar Lahasig, Ela Ayidei Tzimtzumim, right? The Rebbe said Bechina Cyrus are the mitzvahs, and so on. The mitzvahs HaTorah, the Rebbe is explaining Pashtus, not deep. Pashtus, the Rebbe is saying, when you do a mitzvah, the mitzvah is, the shorish of the word mitzvah is tzevet. joined together, right? Right? L'tzeves to be mischaber with the Eibishter. You do a mitzvah, you're mischaber. Nosson brings a Peladi Kazach, I don't remember where, but he brings that. You'll take a look and you'll see that if you want to do a mitzvah, any mitzvah can only be done with a Gashmius Dikazach. Right? Do the Vesser, keep it over aim, right? Shabbos, whatever. It's a Gash, you must take a Gashmius Dikazach. Why? Breslov explains that you have to be mechaber that inyan, that Gashmius Dikazach, to the Eibishter. Because it comes from the highest levels. Any Gashmius came from the highest level, came from Ein Sof. It all came from the Eibishter. Everything, right? And the Eibishter was meshalshalit through all the different midos and all the different eilomos till it came down, till he created this world, right? There's 10 spheres in every oilam. Atzilus, Bri, Yitzir, but even in Asiya, right? And then he first created the Gashmias. After all the spheres, the Ruchnias of oilam ha'asiya, then he created a Gashmias Dikavelt, right? Why? Because only through the Gashmias that we have can we be able to be miskasher to the Eibush, so that every mitzvah is done through a Gashmias Dikazach. And that's also a midah, right? Whatever it may be, whatever that Gashmias midah that we do, that is an inyan that brings us close to the Eibush. And that's what the Avas Hashem is. So that's why the Rebbe always speaks about the Moshel Torah Hey, Second Chelik, other places, there's Avois Hanufulin, right? And Avos Oilam Avtich. It's Chesed, right? And a person has an Ava for a Dover Gashmi, right? That he elevates to the Eibush to his Gvaldik, right? What if he has an Avos Hanufulin, right? Rachmanu Litzlon, that there are many different things, many different inyonim that bring a person, Rachmanu Litzlon, to do a taiva, a midara, right? That's all Gashmias, right? But it's all Ava. Ava is nichlal in that inyan. It's there, right? Our tafkid is to take it and bimala it to the Eibishter, right? To make it an Ava Kedusha. Okay? So the Rebbe is saying here, the Eibishter wanted us to be misgaber to him, to be misdabik in him, right? And that's the Tayyah mitzvahs. Any mitzvah, anything that we do, the Rebbe says the Moshel and Torah Tiku Emunu, we just mentioned. The Rebbe says over there, a person has to be willing to throw himself even in the butts, even in the mud. That was happened Rosh Hashanah when the Rebbe was going to Tashlich and he fell into the mud. What the Rebbe says over there, he explained it in the Torah that he said after Tashlich that the person has to do anything that will bring a rotzon of Hashem, even if it's not an actual mitzvah. It's all there. That's what the Rebbe says in Torah Hey, right? Take a look. Right? Okay. Tehei, the second chelik. You want me to tell you where it is? I'll tell you where it is, and you can look it up later. It's in Daf Yud Aleph, right? You have to do it. And the Rebbe says over here, Tzorech lahashmech kol hachokmos, tzorech afilu snag v'drom she'eninu k'mishuga shvil avodas Hashem. V'chinas bi'avoso tishke tomid. Right? You have to go in the avo. Tishke is a loshen shigoyin, but you can use it as the word tiske. That's where you get the hasogos. That's what the Rebbe explains over here. And Belav Dafka, he says here, mitzvah mamish, el kol dover sheyesh b'ritzoyin Hashem yisborach, nikra mitzvah. It's also a mitzvah, even if it's not written in the Torah, even if you don't find it in Shulchan Aruch, that is something you have to do. But if it's an inyan that will bring you closer to the Eibush, it's a mitzvah, that's mitzvah, that's a tzevet that attaches you to the Eibush. The Moshel, the Rebbe says here, Sheshia b'daitoi mitzvah is tefillin, שהמצווה הזו צורך להיות כך, דהיינו ארבע פרשיות, וארבע בתים של אור כתובים, right? Ktsura shel oyer, kikach shia b'daitoi, she'ayidei atzimtzum hazeh, nuchel lahaseg oisoi ulo'ovdoi. Lochin l'tziva sheyeh abba batam shel kesef v'zov, ki chen shir modad ayidei ahavosoi. Dimsu she'ayidei ahavosoi she'ohav es Yisrael, hilbish es atzmoi b'midois ha'toira. Okay, so tefillin, the Rebbe chapped on tefillin. Rebbe Nosson brings the end of Torah Lamed Ches, but there were a lot of Torahs the Rebbe said at this time in his life. It was the earliest carvers of Rebbe Nosson, Tak Samach Gimel, Samach Dalet. The Torahs that the Rebbe said then all had kavanos of tefillin. That's what the Rebbe was all talking about. So every Torah has a different. Rebbe Nosson and Likutey Halacha shows how some of it are, some of the longer Torahs, all shaykh to mitzvahs tefillin. Why? Tefillin is one of the most awesome mitzvahs that the Eish gave us. Right? The Gemara in Brachos talks about tefillin shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Right? We have the Asparis of Hashem, Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad, right? And Mitzad Sheni, the Tefillin Shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Umi Ki Amchu Yisrael, Goyecha Ba'aretz, V'chulu. The Ahava of Hashem is Nichlal in Mitzvah's Tefillin. That's one of the reasons the Rebbe brings here the inyan of Tefillin. Tefillin, according to the Groishkeit, it's called Moichin. The Ari has many pages on the kavonos of Tefillin, many pages, and it's all talking about being masig hasogos elyonos gvoyos ma'oid, dargos that are beyond the person's ability to even be masig. That's how great Tefillin is, right? The chayre, it should be made of gold. It's Tefillin. I mean, it's such a gvaldik zach. The Rebbe said, no, daika through or. Or, Rebbe Nosson explains all the time, right? The Gemara says, Gabi or minamuta lepicha, right? Different things that you take, even the lowest gashmias, you can take or flesh and you can make it into the greatest kedusha. One of the highest kedusha is tefillin. It's called ois. It's one of the oisers that show that we're connected. Samtem, right? There's either Shabbos and Milah, or tefillin and milah. That's for samtim. So tefillin is almost shokol. Maybe it is shokol. Well, tefillin is shokol k'chol ha'torah kula. So is Shabbos. But it's shokol k'chol. All the mitzvahs are really in the koyach of tefillin, right? Therefore, it should be golden. No, take it to gashmias. Take the or and make from it the highest level of kedusha that's shaykh for a person to ever reach, right? Take it and write it down on gashmias. Nimsa shebechol midah umidah yesham ava. In the ritzuos, the tefillin, in the parshiyos, right? In the ksivas or oisius, right? There's all this has a different type of ha'ora of kedusha in every part of the tefillin. The cyrus that go out from the top of the tefillin shel rosh, right? The way everything in Yad is all on klaf echod, dalet parshiyos and rosh v'chulu. Every part of the tefillin has a different midah of ava. The Rebbe says in Moshel and Torah Ayin Beis in second Chaim. He says, of course you have to have busha before Hashem to do an avera. He says, but really, the Rebbe says you have to have busha to even do a mitzvah. The Moshel, how do we take tefillin? The Rebbe says it there in the Torah, Ayin Beis. How do you take tefillin? Shehem kisrei de malka. It's the keser of Hashem kavayach. That's how great tefillin is. How do we take tefillin and put it on? Who are you? You're putting on kiss. You're a boss of a dom, right? What are you? And yet you're putting on tefillin. Kisrei de malka, right? So what the Rebbe is saying is that everywhere and everything, in every mitzvah, anything that you do, right, you can take the Eibishter Kaviyachol. Rebbe L'Moshel, you have in the Siach Safei Kodesh, but I heard it from Anash, right? You take mitzvah, matzah in the hand, you're taking Hashem in the hand. You're holding a matzah, you're holding Hashem. A mitzvah is achilas matzah, right? And it's not like the most delicious type of food. You know, it's not like the drumstick or the kugel or the shulent, right? Matzah, right? But it's the greatest das. Matzah is das, right? You're taking the eibush, you're taking it, and you're eating. How do you not have busha to do a mitzvah? Who am I that I could grab Hashem kaviyochem? That's what the Rebbe is saying here. The koyach tefillin, right? You're grabbing the eibush, the meloichol oretz kvoida. You had it there in Siv Beis. Nimtza shebechol mida umida yesham ahava. HaKadosh Baruch Hu ohev es atzmoi im Yisrael. This is a shtickle shver lashon. You can work on it the next few weeks, whatever.
We're all stuck.
Ohev es atzmoi im Yisrael, right? That he takes himself. Yeah. Right? What is that lashon? It's a hard lashon. When we in the English, you don't have any perush on that. I know that. I know that.
Everyone avoids it.
After we published it, right, we had a lot of questions. Why didn't you explain this better? Shaykh, it's not really shaykh to explain it, except that the way Reb Nosson would say, we'll put it this way: the Eibishter is Ein Sof. The Arizal says you can't even call him Ein Sof because you have no idea what Ein Sof is, right? By definition, the human mind is finite, right? The Eibishter is infinite, right? You can't understand what infinite is. It's not shaykh, right? It's not shaykh for anyone to really relate to the Eibishter. How could you, right? Well, what is this ava? What is that love that Hashem has for a person? And yet, the Eibishter loves every single person as if he's an only child. You're an only child, right? Maybe you have a few children, you can spread out the ava if you want, you know. But every child is special. Every child has a special ava. Every child. That's the ava of the Eibishter. Now, understand this. Reb Nosson explains it this way, and then we'll get into it a little bit, that there's no such thing as a Yerida in the world. No such thing as a Yerida. You're far from Hashem. Yeah? You feel it. I mean, where's my davening? Where's the geschmack in the davening? You're far from Hashem. But are you? I mean, everything in the world is Hashem. We said it earlier about the Shemus. Everything you touch, every kind of tziruf that you have, it's all the Eibishter. He's there next to you, right? You don't feel it, but the Eibishter is there next to you. So now, think about it. You're a human being, gashmius, and if you have any taivas, then you're really mukushim, right? And the Eibishter is complete ruchnius, all the way up there, in the Ein Sof, in the Or Ein Sof, wherever, right? How could something like that, there are a lot of things that you see in this world, it's disgusting, right? Could you be oihev, something that's disgusting? Could you?
Yes.
Is it, huh?
Yes.
You could love something that's disgusting?
Yes.
Disgusting is a matter of opinion.
Yeah.
My sister finds spiders disgusting. I'm fine with them.
Okay, the same. Okay, you have a good muscle. Okay, it's disgusting. You like the spiders, she doesn't like the spiders, right? Little Miss Mary, what was it, Mary Muffet sat on a thing. Okay, whatever the case is, right? You have something that's disgusting, and you wouldn't want to touch it, right? A person does an avera, it's disgusting. How could the Eibishter, Kaviyochel, love such a person? How is it shaykh? Something that's disgusting.
Avera is not
right?
disgusting.
Huh?
Avera is disgusting.
Avera is disgusting, yeah. You may like it, you may enjoy it, but before, in the eyes of the...
I'll do it all day.
Huh? I didn't hear that, I'm sorry.
If it wouldn't be an Avera, I would do it all the time.
Yeah, a person could do
It's
it.
not disgusting. It's
Yeah.
just Hashem.
It's geschmack to the person who's doing it, right?
Yeah.
But what happens at the end? There's Gehenna, Chibur HaKever, Rima V'Soleya,
That's a trick.
all that, right? It all comes out from the disgusting Avera. You don't do Averas, you don't get that. Okay? There's something disgusting that's going to come out because of the Avera. Yeah, at the time you do it, it's geschmack. Really. I mean, they say the difference between a hot mikveh and an Avera, a cold mikveh and an Avera, right? A cold mikveh you go into, right? Oi, oi, oi! At the end, you come out, Anyone go into the Ariz mikveh? How geschmack you feel when you come out of the Ariz mikveh, right? And Avera is the other way around. It's so geschmack. Oi, hi, 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 hi. And then at the end, oi, 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 right? That's the way it is. The point is that when you have an Avera, you have the disgusting part, whatever the case is, you don't want any shaykhs to it. The Eibishter is so kodosh v'tohar, right? I mean, kodosh v'tohar, right? What could he have to do with a person who's full gashmis, right? So the Eibishter is ohev es atzmoi, the atzmus of Hashem Yisroach kaviyochol, et the atzmusoi, right? He loves that himself with the person. Because the Eibishter is Ein Sof, his Rachmanus is Ein Sof, right? If the Eibishter is Ein Sof, which he is, then his Rachmanus is Ein Sof. If the Rachmanus is Ein Sof, then he has to be able to relate to you. That even if you've done terrible things, the Eibishter, but the Eibishter wants that person, and he waits for the person, right? So that the tachlis oyev es atzmoi, that means the atzmiyus Hashem is with you. You got it?
That Hashem loves the
Oyev
fact that he's
es
connected.
atzmoi im Yisrael. The atzmiyus Hashem is mischaber and mizdabeg with the person himself. Got it?
And in other words, and Hashem enjoys that chibur.
Yeah.
He's enjoying the fact that he's connected to us despite our
Torah Yud Zayin Moshe. Huh?
Because the action is so big, it's so...
Because the Eibush, no, the atzmus of Hashem,
The Atzmis of Hashem.
Hashem himself.
So, Hashem,
That's Hashem, yeah, but
You want the word Atzmus?
it's a lotion that you find in the Ari a lot. The atzmus, chiyusoy, and stuff like that. It means it's the Eibishter. It's the you don't need the word atzmoy to really explain that it's Hashem. Okay? The Rebbe puts it in to know that the atzmius, the etzem being of Hashem, that etzem of Hashem himself, he himself is with you. Right? It's not just that he's distant, he looks from Shemayim, and he's seeing you the way you are. No. He's there with you. Be'etzim, right? Atzmusa, right? The Rebbe brings the Moshe and Torah Chav Beis, where he talks about the Anocha. There's the Basa and there's the Etzim. The Etzim, the Shom, the Etzim, the essence of Hashem is with you, and he loves you. Torah Yud Zayin the Moshe, the Rebbe says the Eibishter has his powers even from the worst Rishei Yisrael. Even from the worst Rishei Yisrael. Why? Because as long as he's called Yisrael, right, the Eibishter is mispoyer. The Eibishter is proud, right? Chas v'sholom, a parent has a kid who's off the derech. Yeah? I'm so proud of you. Not going to happen, right? I love you. Okay, I can love you, but I can't say I'm proud of you. I can't say what you're doing. The guy goes out Machal Shabbos and who knows, and bris and all the other things that happen. Can't say he's proud of you. The Eibishter says he's proud of you. Right? That's the etzem. That's what Hashem is. The etzem of Hashem is the ahava that he has to Am Yisrael. Ahavas olam ahavtich. Ahavas, follow? Okay? Again, it's a very hard musig, those words. All right? And I got a lot of flack for it when I didn't explain it. And I had people, telling me, but I couldn't explain it. You can't explain it. It's not shaykh to explain what the etzem Hashem is.
In the previous paragraph, he said, yeah, that's
the same lotion, same kind of lotion.
At the end of base, right before us gimel, also Yuchaleves Atzmoy, is verkehrt. You could like yourself. With that, it sounds just
Atzmoy. But here the Rebbe, well, that's the other part. Here the Rebbe is explaining the ahava that comes from Hashem to you. Here the Rebbe is talking about your ahava to Hashem, right? I have a hearing loss, so you got to speak a little louder and clearer.
At the end of C base, it's
that's the etzem person himself. Here the Rebbe is talking the ahava of Hashem to you, and here the Rebbe is talking about the ahava of you to Hashem. Okay?
Off-topic question. We were talking about.
Whoa, start again.
Off-topic question. We were talking about it before. What's the difference between Chachma, Bin, and Das?
If you know it, you wouldn't have to ask, right?
I don't know it.
Chachma, you know what the color red is?
Yes.
The color green?
Yes.
The bottle, right? White, and you know it. Chachma. Chachma is something that comes innate to you. It becomes part of you. You don't have to think. Those are things that you know. You learn, you study, right? You learn in school certain things. You learn in cheder better things, right? Whatever the case might be, right? Chachma is all the things that you acquire during your life. They come into your head, and it's there. You know when you come to a red light, you should stop. Okay? You know automatically a green light, right? But how do you know that? That's because of Bina. Bina is you have red, you have green, but what do you do with it? What's the difference? Big deal, right? You know what the power of red is. That's Bina. And you know what the power of green is. You know by a red light, you're supposed to stop. By a green light, you're allowed to go, okay? Das is when you actually do it. That's called knowledge. Bina is understanding. I understand from the chachma that I have, I can understand this inyan. I can maven dover mitar dover. Das, which the Rebbe talks about later, huh?
What's the difference between Chachma and Bina then?
Chachma is, you see red.
But you don't know what to
right?
do with it until you
Bina
use
lets you know that red tells you to stop.
So if I were to see the red light, I wouldn't know what to do with it until the Bina kicked in?
Yeah, right? Bina, you understand that it's made to tell you to stop. Das is when you actually fulfill what you have with your Chokhmah and Bina. That's called knowledge. I know that I have to stop. I know I have to go. I know I understand it, but now I know it.
So basically, all the Chachma and Bina, it all adds up to being Das?
It all ends up, it comes out. Chokhmah is what we call the right side. Bina is the left side. And in your brain, you have two different sides, a right hemisphere and a left hemisphere. Okay? You have it. They each have different powers, different abilities for it. You have ability to absorb things, that's Chokhmah. The ability to know what to do with you absorb, that's Bina. Okay, one is Chokhmah, one is Bina, right? But it doesn't do you any good if you have all that knowledge unless you know how to bring it out, mikoyach al apoyel, to bring it out from the potential into the actual, right? And that's why the Rebbe, later on in the Torah, he talks about the das, right? The Rebbe speaks about the das. Chokhmah contributes X amount, Bina contributes X amount, there's Hei Chasod and Hei Gvuras, but that's not for here now. But there's certain contribution between Chochmah and Bina, and that has to come to Das, right?
Yeah.
Okay. In the spheres, by the way, right, you find this Keser Chochmah Bina, or there's Chochmah Bina Das, right? But Das is not considered a Sphera, right? Das is considered like a quasi-Sphera, maybe a Mamutza, right? Or whatever. Why? Because Das is the external manifestation, manifestation. And if you have questions with the English, I'll explain it. But it's the external manifestation of Keser. Keser is everything is in there. Everything is in Keser, right? Then it filters down to Chochmah, to Bina, right? Das is when it comes out that you can kind of grasp that there's an all-encompassing area that has everything in it, right? Chochmah and Bina, separate things. It comes together in Das, and everything is really in Keser. So that Das shows us what's in the Keser. Okay, that is not clear, right? But that's what it is. Okay?
Because everything is in Keser, and then it gets filtered to Chochmah, Bina.
Then it starts coming down, right?
Why does it have to separate? Why can't it just?
Why does it have to separate? Okay, you heard of the term Shviras Kelim?
Yes.
The Rebbe speaks about it in Torah Lamed Dalet. What's Shviras Kelim? What happens? Right? This Keser shines into Chochmah, shines into Bina. You have it in the charts there, right? Right, and then it goes into Chesed. It was one column, right? The light, right? Originally, the spheres were made in one column. Okay, one column. Everybody see it? One column. What happened is that the Eibishter had to make Kaviyochel. I mean, the Eibishter can do anything, but he made it as filters, as we said earlier. There's midos in order to be mekabel al kusay, right? So what happens with that? The Eibishter had to shine his light into the sphere. Every sphere has, by the way, what's called an or and a keli, right? A light, which is the power of that sphere, and a keli to be able to receive it and hold it at that level, whatever level it may be, right? So the Keser started shining into Chochmah and to Bina, right? But it was too intense. It was too intense. It couldn't take that light, so it broke the keli. It broke the keli. That's called Shviras Kelim. I mean, this is very simple, very elementary description of it, but this is what it is. Okay? So now that you have that, now the Eibishter Kaviyochel had to correct it, rectify it, Mesakin ul do elomos, right? He did it this way. He made the Shvira. Why? Because everything originally was called Atzilus, right? There were daggers before Atzilus till it comes down. The Eri has it, the Olam HaAkudim and whatnot, the Olam HaNakudos, till it came down by Yaakov Avinu the Moshel. It says Akudim, Nekudim, Ubrudim, right? That's what that's the Eri says. That's the Bria Soilomos, right? Akudim was when all the spheres came out together as one. They were all joined together, so that you could, it's like from the word okud, you know, like Yaakov is Yitzchak Benoi, right? They were all akudim. They were all together. There was no separation between them. They were joined together, right? And that couldn't be. You couldn't have an olam that was be created if you had it all together. So he broke it down. That's the nekudim. The nekudos, what are they? Well, you have komats, the first one, which is a line, and another small line. Then you have pasach, it's a line, right? Then you have the little nekudos, tzera, right? Cholim, segol, and all that. They're different dots, right? They're all separate. And they all refer to all different levels and all different spheres and whatnot. Okay? But then the Eibishter created the Olam HaBrudim, which was Atzilus. That's Olam HaAtzilus. In the Olam HaAtzilus, right, everything could be Yibay Hashem. Kaviyochel, you're with Hashem. Which, by the way, right, when you daven Shemona Esrei, you're in Olam HaAtzilus, right? So understand, it's not a portion of the time. You, a human being, can go up to Olam HaAtzilus in Shemona Esrei. Anyway, Atzilus is there, but there was nothing outside, right? There couldn't be this world, because it's such an intense light by the Eibishter, Kavayochel, you never get it. So the Eibishter had to create worlds that were outside Kavayochel, his realm. Now Hashem is Maloichel or it's Choyda, everything, but it's outside the Atzilus. The Eibishter had to start creating other worlds. So he created Olam HaBriya. Bria, the Ari explains it from the word bar, right? You have Melagoi and you have Melavar, right? Melagoi means inside, and the bar is outside. That's Bria. Bria, the Eibishter Kaviyochel, by breaking the Kelim, created a world that's outside his immediate circle. Let's call it that, okay? So he had to make that. So in order to make that, he had to make Sfiros Kelim. Then he has to correct it so that it could be rebuilt the way it is. From the Bria, right, there's a Sfiros Kelim that goes down to a Yitzira. And from Yitzira, there's a different Sfiros Kelim that goes down to Asiya, where we are now, right? So at every step, there had to be a break and then a rebuilding, a break and a rebuilding, a break and a rebuilding. All that is made so that we should be able, as the Rebbe said earlier in the Sif, to be able to be Mekabel, the Or Ein Sof, the Or of Hashem Yisborach, to be Miskasha with the Eibishter. Okay? That's why, that's that Inyan, why it had to be that way. Right? And then, in order to do that...
So with the break essentially is, the break is the keser being broken up in all the
as it comes down, yeah.
As it comes down?
Right. But I
So
mean,
Keser-
the Ari explains that in Keser, Chochmah, there was no Shvira. I think from Bina downward was where the Shvira came. Right?
Bina?
From Bina. But that's already, you're getting into the Eitz Chaim, which is about 50 pages. Right?
We have all night.
Yeah, I don't. You have, I don't. Okay. Besides, you have to have all the Hagdomas, right? But what happened, the Eibishter said, I mean, if you're going to go down in order like that, it's not going to work. So he rectified the world by being a 3-column system. Okay? He made a column system with his right, left, and center. Okay? That's why you have Chochmah on the right, Bina on the left, Chesed on the right, Gvura on the left, Netzach and Hoy. Right? Then it all comes together in Yesod, which is called the Claudius, a general receptacle of the Kedusha. And then Malchus is called Claudius of the Claudius, right? An extra level of Claudius, right? So that's why you have the 3 columns, right? Right, left, and center. And they all work together in unison in order to be able to receive the light of Hashem. It goes from one to the other, back and forth, so that each one can absorb the koyach of the sefira above it and add to it its own unique powers and bring it down to a level that we could benefit from it too. So that we could, the Ramak Lamoshel has a sefer Toimah Dvora, right? Toimah Dvora, right? He takes all the spheres and he explains the midos of the spheres and how each person could fulfill the koyach of that sphera by itself, by himself, by doing this certain midah, by doing this certain thing, whatever the case is, okay? Any other questions?
No.
Huh?
No, that just clarified that. I was wondering before. I saw one time one of your
You're going to go places if you keep this up. All right? Okay. Nimtza.
Go get some more.
Now see, you're going places already. Nimtza. Misha Mafshed as a Torah. Bilavushe HaKlipois Ayedei Kfiyas HaYetzer, which the Rebbe spoke about in Siv Gimel. Azayu Mekoidev El HaSholem. K'moshe Kosov, Chol Nesivoseh Sholim. Right? If a person is zoicha not to allow the Yetzer Hara to overcome him, not to allow the Yetzer Hara to force him to do an Avera, rather he is koifer the Yetzer Hara, he forces the Yetzer Hara to leave him, to get away from him, right? That's the Yemei Ra, right? That's where all the klipos are. And a person is zoicha to have the Yemei Toiv by Kfiyas HaYetzer, in that he's Mekurav El HaSholom, he comes close to peace. Why? Because then everything works in unison. Chesed, Gvura, Tiferes, Netzach, it all works together to bring the person to Shefa, to bring the person the Or Hashem, the Moichin, the Ari explains the Moshel, the Spheres. Sometimes they're called Moichin, sometimes they're called Midoy, sometimes they're called Shefa. But you get everything when you put it all together. Okay? And then, if you do that, then you're Mekurav to the Sholem, because the Sholem is when you're able to take the evil and put it under the koyach of Toiv, right? Then you have the koyach, Chol Nesivoseh Sholem, Nesivoseh is the Torah, which the Rebbe said earlier is the Midos and everything. V'atoira yesh bo shnei bechinos, bechinos nigla ubechinos nista. V'anista nazehu araisa da'atikas timo ta'asida li'eskalya li'osa lovoy. V'yoz k'shi yiskala ha'toira ha'zois da'atikas timo Aza yihi ha'sholem nifla bo'olim k'mo shekosav v'gozei v'kemes v'nodin v'gedi yachtov lo yodeya v'liyashchiso b'chol ha'kochi ki molo ha'orez zedeya es Hashem. We said the Rebbe speaks about das here. Ki aza yiskala ha'ava shebedaitoi. Daitoi is the das of Hashem. When a person is zoicha to understand the Torah, it is nigla. There are things that I see that I could understand, that I could relate to. And then there's things that I don't know what I'm talking about, which was tonight, right? We have the Nista, the mystical part of Torah, which the Kabbalah, not everybody understands what it's all about, right? It's there. But it's the same thing with the Ava of Hashem, that it's nigla, we could see it sometimes, and it's nista, we can't see it. It's with the parts that are in the Yemei Ra, right? The Ava of Hashem is there, right? The Eish said, they may have it in Torah Gimel, in Siv Gimel, when you koifer the Yemei Ra, right? So that the Or Hashem, it's all there, all the time. The same Or Ein Soif, that's there in the very beginning is there down by the lowest levels of the klipos, right? If you're zoicha to be koifer the Yemei Ra, then you're megala that the Eibishter is there, and when you're megala the Eibishter is there, then you have the da'as of Hashem, the ava shebedas, the ava that Hashem has for you as a yid. The Eibishter takes you, and he sits with you, and he loves with you, and he's with you all the time. And the Rebbe says this is what's called the Torah of Atikos Timor. There are 5 levels in Torah. Pardes, right? Anyone hear of Pardes? Pshat, Remez, Drush, Soid, right? If you have all that, there's still one level that you don't have, and that's the Zohar. The Rebbe brings it in Torah Yud Aleph L'Moshel. There's Rosin, the secrets of Torah, Soid, and there's Rosin de Rosin, right? There's secrets of secrets. That's the secrets of Torah Atikos Timor, right? Because the levels are, the Pshat Torah is in Asiya, right? The Remez is in Yitzira. The Drush is in Bria, right? As you go up and you learn more, you zoicha to these Oilomos. The Soid is in Atzilus, right? But there's higher than Atzilus, as we mentioned earlier. That's where the Keser. The Keser is Atik, right? The upper part, there's 2 parts to the Keser. The upper part and the lower part. But the higher part is called Atik, or Atika Kadisha, right? That's what you say, Shabbos, Atika Kadisha, V'chachal Tabuch and Kadisha. Atika Kadisha is the Keser itself. That's the Skala on Shabbos, right? That's why it's skula to learn Kabbalah on Shabbos. The Ari used to learn during the week. He used to learn Nigla on 6 different levels, right? And then he would learn Kabbalah, right? On Shabbos he would learn Kabbalah, right? Because it's Atik, right? Shabbos, the Atik is Gala. But that's the Torah Atikas Timur. That's the highest level of Torah. And it's talking, the Zohar calls it, it's Torah Zohar and Ba'aloshcha. The Asidah, the Iskalia, the Osad Lovay. It's not available now. It's not yet available. However, the truth is, it is available. The Rebbe speaks about it, right? In this Torah, Torah Memtes, other places, the Rebbe speaks about Torah's Atik, Chassidish Sfarim, right? From Baal Shem Kodesh and others, they mention really, but they mention in Yonim from Torah Atikas Timur. That's where the Etzem Shalom is. Why is that? Just to picture it, you had the picture of the spheres. Keser is on top. It's one unit, right? Or a champin, right? It has what they call this, the right and the left, the Zohar and the Nekeva, whatever the case is. Keser is one. Right, then it splits into 2. Chochma on the right, Zocha, and the Bina is the Nekeva on the left, Yud K, right? Whatever the case is. Then you have the Zerampin and Malchus, and so on, right? Yud K, right? It had to become different partsufim, right? There's 5 partsufim. That's the 5 levels of Torah. There's 5 partsufim, right? The Yud K, Vav K, it's 4. The koitza, the yud, the tip of the yud is called atik, right? So there's 5. There's everything in this world has 5 partsufim, 5 in yonim, right? The atika ta'ikdisha, the Torah, the atika stimah, the asidah, the isgalia, that's not been revealed yet. It's available because Reb Shimon talks about it in the Zohar. The Ari talks about it. The Chassidish Sfarim, some of them talk about it, and the Rebbe speaks about it. That this will come out. Reb Nosson mentions it in Likutey Halachos. So what you have is a koyach of Torah that when you learn the Rebbe's Torah, you're touching on inyonim, because the Rebbe said he took his Torah from the highest levels, right, from the Shorshe Atzilus, which is Atik. Atzilus is Chochmah, right? The Rebbe took his Torah from the Shorshe Atzilus, which is Atik. If you learn the Rebbe's Torah, you're oisek with Torah Da'atikas Timor. It's a big level, but you don't know what you're talking about, and neither do I, right? But that's what it is. It's on those high levels. If you want to get a glimpse of what Torah's Atik is all about, the best thing you can do is learn Likutey Halachos, right? You learn Likutey Halachos, and you begin to see how widespread the Rebbe's Torah is, and the things that the Rebbe brings, that he mentions, a few words here, a few words there, Reb Nosson can build upon it a halacha that has 10, 15, 20 pages even, right? And he explains to you what that Torah Atik, it's what it's all about, and how far-reaching it is. The main thing is to learn Likutey Halachos. And while I'm at it, I may as well do a little chutzpah. We Baruch Hashem, Tzvi, you got to the Likutey Halachos. Shkoyach. We were zoicha last week, to take this first volume of Likutey Halachos off the press, right? You have the English Likutey Moran, this has more commentary, right? Because Likutey Halachos is harder to explain than Likutey Moran, right? You have it here, any page you want, whatever the case is. It's Ein Sof, right? The Torah's, the Rebbe is Ein Sof. You learn Likutey Halachos, you go into a different world. There's a sikha from Reb Nosson that the Welt says that the storm of the Shloh are the Eingang zu Gan Eden, are the Frosdor, the hallway, entrance way to go into Gan Eden. And Rosen said, my Likutey halachos is the Eibish's Gan Eden alone, right? That's the power of Likutey halachos, right? What I'm going to ask now is for everyone here to join, be part of the project, right? Could you afford $18 a month? That's a little over $200 a year. Could you afford that from your Maisa? Right? We have here a brochure. I mean, if you want to give more, we'll take more. But if you could afford $18 a month, $18, right? Chaim, right? It comes out to be what? $216 a year, right? But every month, so it doesn't feel like one big bite, right? You can join us. We have a kollel that we put together. We have a few people, right? The guy who learns the Likutey halachos, the guy who explains it and translates it into English, the guy who edits it, the guy who typesets it and checks it out, and we have editors on that too. And then you have the actual printing costs and whatnot. It costs us $20,000 a month. We're looking for a few people to get together to give us $18 a month so that we can meet our goal of $20,000 a month. I know what it is. I finance it. Anyway, whatever the case is, you could all join. You can all be part of getting Likutey halachos out into the world. Pasuk says, right? Everyone here is the Rebbe. They learn the Likutey Moran, whatever. You can't get to. Shul Shapiro used to say this. I heard it from him and others, right? That the Ika Chizik in Breslov is through Likutey halachos. When you learn Likutey halachos, right? So, if you want, it's your choice. You have Bechira. That's what this Torah is all about, right? Bechira, right? Join us. Give $18 a month. Join up, and maybe we can get more groups, not just one group for $20,000 a month. Maybe we'll be able to build it up to 2 groups, 3 groups. I mean, Likutey halachos has 4 chalokim. Or Chaim, Yeridea, Ebenezer, Chosh, and Mishpat, right? And all we want to do is bring it out to the world, that people should have it. So I leave it to you guys. Do what you want, whatever. You have Bechira, the Rebbe says here in Torah, all right? You have it in Siv Gimel, right? Your Bechira, you Koifa, the Yemei Ra. I can't give. Make it into Yemei Toiv. I can give. And you'll see the Flois Hashem, Amen.
Amen. I want to thank Reb Chaim for giving the shir, and should have gesunte lange Jahren and should see the project to completion. For a special thanks to Reb David Friedman for this shir, because Reb David gave this beautiful Suda to the Nishmas and the Kavod Elul of the Lelever Rebbe, and he gave up his spot because he had the seichel and understanding that this shir, maybe if we listen to it 100 times, we'll have a little smidgen of a musig of what's going on in the spheres. So you should call to Reb David and the schus of the tzaddik should be making and you and your mishpacha, you should continue. Moshe Lelever, Moshe Lelever, huh? Moshe David. Schus Yagneleinu and you and the ganze mishpacha. Shkaya. Okay.